Hey everybody, here's my backpack. If you read the introduction, I am trying something a little bit different. I'm going to try to make a painting by carrying everything I need to do the painting and the live video on my back. And I'm less than a mile from my house, but when I was driving by this morning, I saw a real beautiful field that has goldenrod and ironweed. And for me, the goldenrod and the ironweed represent the end of the summer and the beginning of fall. And I found that finding ironweed is kind of hard to see. It bloomed real fast and then disappeared in most places where I normally go. So I wanted to do this today before another cold spell hits and the ironweed disappears. So I'm at the spot and I'm trying to decide. I'm going to grab the camera and flip it around so you can see what I'm looking at. Let's see. Here we go. So this is the spot, and I don't know how well you could see from here, but there's a really nice patch where you could see goldenrod right next to the ironweed. Now to get here, I'm walking around in weeds, and if I do this, I know I'm going to probably have ticks crawling up my leg, and I don't know. That's kind of gross to me. And this is poison ivy. I'm almost certain that's poison ivy. So getting off the beaten path has its risks you take, but how much a risk am I willing to take to get a good painting? This is so pretty. I don't know if it really shows up. All this purple is just really nice to be surrounded by. I guess I'm going to tuck my pants into my shoes so I could come down here to paint. The view is a whole lot better. So I guess that settles that. I need to go back up on the hill. You see my tripod up there, and tuck my pants in my paint, and then I'll come down here to set up my painting gear. So okay, that's fun to make these kind of decisions with people watching. But here's a close-up of some ironweed. It's a real pretty purple wildflower, and what I'm interested in is getting some of that yellow goldenrod in the background in the composition. Gosh, there's a bunch of monarch butterflies. I don't know if I could zoom in. Oh yeah, it looks like I could zoom in. So maybe you'll get to see some of the butterflies that I'm seeing. Gosh, this is a good spot for a painting. So, alright, I'm just going to have to tuck my pants into the shoes, and then I'll come back to set everything up. So, hope you don't get dizzy with me doing this. Let me climb back up to the road and make sure I don't step in that poison ivy. I think I'm alright. Okay. Okay, well, I've got a comment from Karen Marshall. She says that poison ivy and ticks would be enough to let me know I just need to get some good pics and go back to my studio and create my painting. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you'd think I'd have better common sense, but you've known me long enough, Karen. I don't have good common sense, so I'm going to go down into that poison ivy / tick pit. But first I'm going to put my pants into my shoes. I'll bet there's already ticks flying by. Let's see. I don't see any ticks. I'm going to stuff my pants into my shoes. Hopefully that's enough to keep most of them from getting on me, but maybe when you see this, you could appreciate some of the suffering us artists go through to make pretty pictures for you. Okay, let's go down and make a pretty picture. I'm going to turn this around so you could watch me set up. Let's see. I think from here might be good enough. I am literally in the weeds. Okay. So, I've already taken my backpack. I've already taken the easel out of my backpack and set it up so that you could see me while I'm setting up. But everything else I need for the painting is here in my backpack. Now, I'm trying to decide the spot I want the paint from. It sure is pretty down here. I wish, well, I guess you are here with me, but I was going to say, I wish you were here with me. Really pretty time of year. Okay, this is where I'm going to set up. So, first thing first, I'm going to grab my easel. Already a little bit hot. Let me use my bandana to get the sweat off my face. Alrighty. Now that my easel's set up, I can set the backpack here on the hook. I've got my rusty trusty paint box. Let's set this here. I'm worried you can't hear me very well, so I'm going to come and get the camera and bring it a little bit closer. Okay, we're going into the weeds. Somebody told me that weeds are, there's no such thing as weeds. It's just a flower in the wrong place or something like that. Okay, maybe I'll set it up like this so you could see the easel and the view. Okay, so now I'm going to pull my panel out. You might have watched me prime these panels a few days ago, or no, yesterday. I primed these yesterday. Let's see, hopefully I remembered my sketchbook. I've got my sketchbook here. I also have my iPad, so I should be able to check my comments. Let's see. I need to turn my internet on real quick, so give me just a second. Well, my sister Carrie's watching. Hey, Carrie. Okay, I've got internet on, so let's connect that so I can see what the camera sees. This is all an experiment. I walked to this spot with all the wildflowers and carried everything I thought I might need. Now, for the last couple of paint trips, I drove my car to the location where I painted. So I was able to bring a real big box full of paint and easels and all kinds of stuff that I might or might not have needed to use. But since I'm carrying it on my back, I had to narrow things down. It was real hard to pick which tube of paint I was going to bring or not bring. But hopefully I'll get a good painting out of all of this. If not, it's a pretty day. This is so pretty. I have admired these wildflowers from the roadside, but I've never come down and gotten real close where you could see the details of the flowers and all the butterflies and the bees, and it's just such a pretty scene. Okay, alright, my video's on, and it looks like you could see me okay. Oh, I've got a question from Nancy, and she wants to know if I love my strata. And the strata is the little paint box I've got here, and it's kind of a yes and no answer. I love parts of the strata. I really like how small and portable this is, and that I can put it into my backpack. But a complaint that I have about the strata is that you can't store your brushes in here. You can't store your paints in here. All that you could store in the box is your paint. And you can see I've got some paint in here from a previous paint session, and I have an extra tray that works with this box. But because I put the paint here instead of here, I can't lay this tray in the box. And the strata's nice in that it's real small and compact, but you have to carry everything else separately. So I'm not sure that I really gained a lot of space advantage with the strata. But it does hold the panel very securely. This could get hit by wind and it's not going to go anywhere. It's a yes and no answer. I have a tendency to collect art supplies, so this won't be the one paint box to end every paint box I ever have. But it's fun. And see, my brushes are in a separate container. And before I got the strata, every paint box I had little drawers that would hold everything you need, including the painting. So what I've done is I'll tie my brushes to the easel. Okay, and I'll use this tray to lay some of my brushes. I only use about 2 or 3 brushes, so I'm going to get those out. I like a small flat brush, and then a medium-sized flat brush. Well, where did it go? Here it is. And this medium-sized flat brush. And then I've got a can of solvent. Which will hang from the paint box. And I've got a towel that's really good. Okay, and then the paint is in another box. I've got another box to hold all my paint. And this is actually narrowing my paint down. I wanted to bring more colors of paint, but I had to get it down to just this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 colors, and I've got a tube of white. So hopefully between all these colors I'll be able to get a painting. Okay, well, let's get to it. I'm going to grab my sketchbook and work out a composition. I've shared this with you all before. For my sketchbook, I use a very generic college rule lined sketchbook, and to draw I use a pen. Hopefully I remembered to bring a pen. Yes, I've got a pen right here. So my idea for the painting is to have the goldenrod and the ironweed as the center of attention, and I'm looking for some views. I'm probably going to paint in this orientation because in my mind the plants are all growing up, so I want a tall style of painting. Man, it is beautiful. This place is loaded with butterflies. I should probably come outside more. It's probably like this all the time. But when you do a lot of studio artwork, you tend to stay in your little cave making art, and you don't necessarily go outside as much as you should. This is just beautiful. Okay, let me get to work. So hopefully you can see this. I'm going to just draw a little bit of a box that has the same proportions as my board here, and I keep getting distracted by this butterfly, but I know if I try to paint the butterfly, it's just going to break my heart. It'll run away as soon as I get to painting. I'm going to grab the camera and show you what I'm looking at and some of the compositions that I'm considering. So here is the view where I'm standing, and this area right here is really interesting to me, where you have some goldenrod in the foreground, and then you have the purple ironweed in the background. Now, another perspective that's interesting to me is this direction, and it's almost the opposite. I'm going to zoom in, where you have the ironweed in the foreground, and then you have the goldenrod in the background. And being out here, this is really pretty. Just all that pretty ironweed, the purple ironweed. It's really nice. Man, it's hard to pick. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by all the beautiful things here. All right, well, let me flip this around so you could watch me draw. And what I'm going to do is do a few drawings. There's so many pretty things. Until I start drawing, I don't really know what might be the best fit. I see Nancy replied to you, I was looking at the medium size, good to know, thank you. Nancy, I hate to say this, now that I've bought it, I'm glad I bought it, but looking back, I might not have bought it after all. There's some other brand easels that do more of the things that I need it to do that I think would be a better investment than the Strata easel. So if you want, I could send you a note with some links of some easels that I like that are also pretty small and lightweight, but they have those drawers which hold the majority of your stuff. Okay, let's see, I forgot what I was doing. I was going to jump into the paint, but let's start sketching. So I'm going to start with that first perspective of the goldenrod in the foreground and the ironweed in the background. And the goldenrod has this real pretty angle. It's towards the end, it's coming out this direction. So I like that movement. For me, that's very interesting. And now that I start drawing this, and I see how it falls onto the canvas, I'm probably going to paint this view. It's really, really pretty. And it's going to let me do what I was thinking. The reason I use a pen instead of a pencil, I don't want to get too precious with my marks. I'm just working things out And sometimes if you have an eraser, you'll spend a lot of time trying to get it just right. You'll erase and then make the mark again. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the goldenrod there. And then the ironweed, there's one piece in the foreground. Maybe I'll have one in the foreground. And then as it goes further back into your field of view, it gets smaller. Then you just sort of have like a purple haze, and then there's a little bit of yellow back here. That could be really interesting. And the picture will probably stop where the trees start. I might just have a little bit of darkness where the trees start. This might not look like much, but in my mind I've worked out a lot of composition details for the scene, and I've got a strategy of how I might like to paint this. Now, I'm going to do that other view just to try something different. Once I started drawing, I liked that composition a lot more than I originally thought. You know what? Now that I look closer, that's not goldenrod in the background. And it's a different yellow flower. Maybe it's mustard or something like that. And to me, goldenrod is an important part of the painting because goldenrod is the state flower of Kentucky, and I've just started celebrating my 20th anniversary of visiting Kentucky. And the first weekend of October, I'll have been a Kentuckian for 20 years. So I really feel like the goldenrod's an important part of the composition. So I'm going to go back to my original sketch, and now that I've got this sketch worked out, I'm going to lay it down here for reference, and we could start painting. So I'm going to pick a base color to do my underpainting. Let's see. It looks like I got a comment from Molly. She says, "Hi Ken, beautiful there." Molly, it sure is. This is a spot that I drive by all the time, but I've never gotten off the road and really into the wildflowers. And it's so pretty. I'm just overwhelmed. I could just cry. It's so pretty right now. I'm so happy to be here. I'm not going to cry because we're on live Facebook, and I've cried on Facebook once, and I'd like to only do it once. Okay, I'm going to start with a little bit of this transparent earth yellow. And this is kind of like a not burnt umber. What's the light yellow? Well, my brain isn't working on color names, but well, hey, Betsy says she can't wait to see it. Betsy, you see, I decided to face the ticks and the poison ivy, and I'm in the weeds. It's just so pretty down here. I'm glad I made the right choice. So now I'm just going to put some color on my canvas. Getting this a pretty golden color. I don't like to work on a white surface, so I'm just putting a color so that it's not a really bright white color staring at me. And I feel like if I have a gold undercolor, it might bring out the gold of the goldenrod, and it should also contrast real nice with the purple of the ironweed. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of a darker brown color to start working out the elements of my drawing. So let me think about, in some ways the colors you pick at this point don't really matter because I'm going to cover it with other colors, but they do kind of matter. So I don't want to just grab the first color that catches my eye. I'm thinking just a little bit about the colors in front of me and the harmony I want to create with the painting. And I kind of want to do a blue, but I always, whenever I paint, I always want to do blue. The last couple of paintings I've been good about not using blue, so I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to treat myself to some blue. And this blue is a phthalo blue, which is a really strong blue. This is a man-made color. I believe it came out in the late 1800s. Before that time, most of the colors were things from nature that were like you might have rocks that were ground down into powders and then used as paint. But with some of these synthetic colors, you get real bright colors that mix real differently, and I want to say they're also more permanent. It might be an equal permanence, but when you look at the Impressionists' real bright colors they used, some of those color choices were possible because they had a new technology with these man-made colors. Can you all see me okay? I think you can see the screen. What I might do so you can see my palette is tilt this down just a little bit. So you can see my colors as I mix them. Okay, a brush fell. There we go. I was able to retrieve it. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit of blue. You see how bright that blue is? That's way too bright to paint anything in nature. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange to tone it down. This will make it more of a brownish, brown color. Okay, so I'm going to use this color I've mixed to work out the different shapes. Okay, Molly says, I can see, but your painting seems far away. Alright, I'm going to paint just a little bit this way, and then I'll zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. Alright. So what I'm interested in is this goldenrod. Right here, this will be the main character of the painting. Some little leaves. And then there's another one in front of it that sort of has this shape. Third one right about here. And just some sort of abstract yellows here. And then I'm going to put the ironweed, I don't know, maybe about here. There's some companion pieces out here, and then I'm going to sort of abstract it as it goes into the background. This will be the dark where the tree meets the wildflowers. This probably looks like a mess right now, doesn't it? My goal is going to be to take this mess and to give it some structure and have it look like something recognizable. I'm not always successful doing that, and when I start I always have a little bit of dread, like, oh man, this is going to be a big failure and all these people are watching, and Man, how embarrassing. Maybe I should have just stayed home and not put myself out there. But I don't really think like that. I try to, most paintings I do come out real nice, and I always learn something. So that's my goal more than anything right now. And to share this experience with you all is really pretty amazing. It's really a pretty special thing. So I've got my basic composition worked out. I'd kind of like to remove some paint. Let's see, you know what, I'm talking so much, I'm not thinking about the painting, and that might be a problem. So what I'm doing now is wiping the paint away a little bit. The goldenrod is very light, so I'd like it to be the lightest part of the painting. I'm going to wipe this away. If you want something to look light, what you can do is put something dark next to it, and that really brings out the lightness. I'm thinking for the undercolor, I wish I had used a darker color than this yellow, but it's going to work out. I already feel better about this as I start wiping the paint away. I could see that contrast. I might bring some more of that blue in. I'm gonna make everything pretty dark. I like that yellow so much, but it's going to be more like a green background. That's okay too. First goldenrod, the second goldenrod. Start bringing this one out. And there's these little tops of goldenrod, and I don't know how much. Ironweed has a different shape. It's more like an upside down pyramid. So at this point I'm not adding paint, I'm just removing paint. I'm using the brush to remove the paint, and then I'll take this towel to get the paint off the brush. And if you've ever drawn with an eraser, it's similar to that kind of process. And if you've never drawn with an eraser, it's a really good exercise. I'm going to zoom this in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. I think you've seen enough of the real beautiful view. Let's look at the art. Okay, Molly says, I'm glad you're sharing. So, well, I'm glad you're watching. I feel less lonely when I'm painting with friends. It's kind of different. I don't have the concentration I have when I'm by myself painting, but I don't know, it's kind of cool to make art in a social way where you're also visiting and whatever. I need to tighten this easel. It keeps moving. There we go. Now I could really push. So the spot in the background where there's some yellow, I'm just going to wipe this away. Then there's going to be just little spots of purple, maybe an occasional yellow goldenrod. You know what, it's kind of nice not saying anything and listening to all of the nature that is making noises. I don't think it's crickets, but it's kind of nice. I feel like I'm nervous not saying anything, because who wants to watch a video with nothing being said? And then another part of me knows that I'm not the best narrator in the world, so maybe not saying anything wouldn't be the worst. So I'm just working out some of the shapes of these wildflowers. One reason I prefer oil to acrylic is that it dries a lot slower. So I could do this technique where I add paint and then wipe paint off, add paint back off. And on a warm day like today, with acrylic paint it would dry really quick. I'm laying this dark in this corner so that I can bring out some bright yellows. I want to say one of the rules of painting, if you want bright, you have to have some dark. And the philosopher in me wants to say you could apply art rules to everyday life too. But you see this dark area? I'm going to wipe away. Let's see. Just going to pull some paint away. Do you see how bright it looks next to that dark background? Today's an overcast day, so the light is kind of tricky to figure out. I'm trying to decide, are the flowers dark against a light background or light against a dark background? It's hard to say for sure. I'm going to do a lot with color to hopefully compensate for not having a lot of contrast in light. I feel like the petals of the ironweed in the background are lighter than the background. The purple flowers of the ironweed are definitely lighter than the stem. Man, I really want some butterflies in here. There's so many butterflies. What I'm going to have to do is photograph the butterfly with my mind. I'll look at it and try to memorize the shape and the color and the feeling I get when I see the butterfly. And I might even grab my sketchbook and just sketch the butterflies. When I'm painting like this, I try not to use photographic reference because it forces me to use my mind and my eyes, and I'm kind of old-fashioned. I like trying to make art in the old way, even though there's nothing wrong with using modern tools. I just Sometimes I'll use modern tools. Like I like to draw on an iPad just as much as I like to draw on paper with a pen. So I'm just continuing to wipe the paint off, working out those shapes. When I first started this, I was afraid it was going to be really awful. And now I'm feeling like, if I don't mess this up, this is going to be really pretty. This might be one of the best things I've ever painted out in nature. Which could happen. You know, they say the more you practice, the better you get. So the more I do this and get comfortable working like this, they should get better and better. That's the reason if you're just getting started, you shouldn't get frustrated either. You're going to get better. It just takes... When you do anything for the first time, it's hard and you might not be very good. I'm going to take just a break and step away from this, and I'm going to check on you all. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. This was going to be a hard line, and now I feel like I might like it to be a little softer. Let's see. And I could stand back and get a better look. Oh man, that's coming out real pretty. Let's see. Okay, it looks like I'm caught up. Molly said she was glad I'm sharing, and I was glad to be showing off. And Sue Ellen's watching, and she says, Hi, I'm late. Love what you've done so far. Thank you, Sue Ellen. I wish you were here. You'd really love this scene. It's a real pretty field of wildflowers. And then Molly's talking to Sue. She says, "Hi, Sue. Can't wait to play in clay with you this weekend." Well, that sounds fun. I didn't know you all were playing in clay. That's two of my favorite people getting together, doing one of my favorite things. All right. Well, so looking from back here, I think I'm ready to start laying color into the painting. So let's see what I've already got out. I've got some cadmium yellow out, and I've got some quinacridone magenta and quinacridone violet, and I know I'll use those two for the ironweed. And then I've got that phthalo purple, and I've got a gray out. That might be an alright palette to work with. Maybe I'll put one more yellow out if I need it. Okay, so I want to throw these purples on the canvas. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that quinacridone violet and pick up a little bit of white and mix the two. So this is the very lightest purple. Maybe I'm not ready to go that light. Let's do some of the mid-tone purple. And I'm just going to put that purple where the ironweed is. I'm not too hung up on the details yet. At this point, I'm just laying the colors in. I'm going to need some more purple, so let's I call this purple, but it's violet. I'm not going to mix this much. I like the way it looks right out of the tube with just a little bit of white. So I'm just going to keep applying So you see, as they get further in the background, I'm making the flowers a little bit smaller. I'm not trying to put every flower exactly where it is, but just trying to get the feel of the movement of the field. I might try to do a trick with the motion in the painting. Right now, I kind of feel like my eye goes here, and then I go up to the goldenrod, and there's a risk the eye might just leave the painting, and I want to bring the painting back in. So maybe when I paint, I'll have a little bit of a circular motion to bring the eye back in that way. Now, I'll do my best to honor the scene and stay true to what I see, but you also want to take some, make some tricks, make it a painting. You don't want to be a robot and reproduce like a photograph reproduces. You want to say a little more than what's just in front of you. Like for me, I'd like to express the joy I feel right now being here making art on a pretty day. I'm going to clean my brush, and I want to get the color of the goldenrod on the canvas so that I can start to see the color harmony. I kind of feel like, with the purple, I could use the yellow right out of the tube. Without mixing it much for the goldenrod. I'm adding just a little bit of white. Yellow is one of those colors. It can get muddy real fast. If it touches any other color, it'll turn green pretty quick. You're going to need a little more yellow. I'm really applying it pretty thick. Let's see, I've got a cadmium light and a cadmium regular. Let's go with the light. Let me step back and see how it looks. It's getting there. It's getting there. I'm not going to give up. I've got hope. I've got hope for this one. I'm going to need a little bit more white. A little more white as well. I'm not mixing this yellow much. I like it so much right out of the tube. I'm just putting it on my brush and onto the painting. I might mix the yellow a little bit more with the brush and other colors once I get into the details. I'm going to start laying that white, I'm sorry, the the yellow in the background. Just little dabs of it. You know what? This is so pretty. I'm just really happy with myself at this moment. Everything could change with one wrong move, but I'm real happy right now. Cleaning my brush out. Up to this point, I've only used this single brush. And it's serving me so well, I'm going to keep using it a little longer. I'm starting to think about my horizon where the field meets the trees right around this area, and there's a tree that's just starting to turn yellow. I might make some marks to suggest. I don't want to get so much into the details of the background that it takes away from the main part of the painting. So I'll probably leave it sort of blurry and just real subtle suggestions. In fact, what I might do is just scratch that design, but I still want to put some yellow, oh, what's that other color? Green. I'm going to grab some Viridian. There's a lot of blue back there. I might mix some Viridian and phthalo blue, maybe a little bit of this yellow. Man, that phthalo blue is strong. It'll overpower any other color. Put just a teeny bit of orange in it to soften the green. And I'm accidentally getting purple in it, and that's okay, because let's see, I might switch brushes after all. I'm ready to use that smaller brush. So with the smaller brush, I could get in there and get sharper details. see. I'm going to grab a pencil and use the graphite to make some real fine dark marks to represent the stems of the ironweed. Wait a second, I want it to go this way. Well, I'll be honest with you all, there is a lot happening in this painting. And I like busy paintings, but this is a lot to digest. I'm ready to put some light purples in the highlights. This will change. Well, it's not changing it as much as I wanted. Let's add a little more white. Sometimes I'll get sucked into the painting and I've got to step back to get some of the details. You can tell I'm really painting when I'm this quiet. I'm trying to figure out, at this point I'm using a light green, and I'm trying to bring out the spaces, like right here where the little stick parts of the flower are broken through with a light background. I really appreciate people that could paint and explain while they're painting, because there's definitely an art to that. I found I'm pretty good at the beginning part of painting. I could talk while I'm painting and explain the steps, but as I get closer to the finish, I really have to focus, and it's hard to do the problem solving it takes to finish the painting and explain what you're doing when you really don't. I don't even know what I'm doing. But hopefully you could watch and you could see and figure out for yourself. Everybody paints differently, so I know some people love the finishing touches. They know exactly what to do. This particular subject is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I don't do a whole lot of florals. I like more of the big, broad country scenes with lots of space, and zooming in like this is kind of tricky. I'm not adding any paint, I'm just softening the strokes in the background to kind of give your eye a depth of field. You know how with certain kinds of photography, things in the background are blurred out? And it makes the foreground look sharp and crisp. I'm doing the equivalent of that with paint. I'm going to step back to see. Oh boy, wow. I'm pretty happy. I feel like the goldenrod in the foreground needs a little more detail. And That's the only thing that really jumps out at me. This goldenrod is really lots of little itty-bitty yellow flowers, so there's lots of spots where that dark green is popping through. So hopefully if I get some dark green and just sort of tap it in there, and then I'll come back with the yellow and bring some of it back where I might have lost some detail of the plant. I'm going to grab a little more orange. Let's see, here we go. I'll use this orange for the dark parts of the goldenrod. Man, these butterflies are beautiful. I know I should put a butterfly in here, but I'm looking at one in particular right now, studying that pattern of the leaves. Now I'm bringing some of that orange in to give the goldenrod has to look golden. Put some of that in the background. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to check in on you all and see. Let's see. So it looks like Alvin says it's really cool. Thanks for sharing. Well, thanks for watching, Alvin. Jenny B says it's beautiful. Thank you, Jenny B. You probably know where this scene is. It's real close to where we live. Harriet says that's lovely. Thank you. I've been kind of worried about this painting, so all this positive feedback makes me feel a lot better. And there's more positive feedback from Regina. She says, nice work, Ken. Thank you, Regina. And then here's a tip from Melissa Barker. She says to use tea tree oil to keep the ticks away. Well, that's a great idea. I'm hoping I don't have any ticks on me. I haven't felt any climb on me, and I've kind of stomped the grass down to where I'm not up to my waist in weeds like I was before. I'm starting to feel a whole lot better about this painting. I'm going to put a green stem here and maybe some suggestions of goldenrod leaves. And let me step back and keep looking. I'm not totally happy with the trees in the background, so I'd like to do something, but I don't know what that would be yet. Let's get a little more green. I'm having such a nice day. I wasn't sure if the day was going to be a good day or not until I started painting. And now that I'm painting, I feel real good about the day. So I'm glad we all came out here to do this. Let's see, I just want a real skinny stem. Give my goldenrod a little bit of a form. Boy, we're close, boys and girls. We're real close. Oh, wow, it's a lot darker than I thought it was. Scoot. We are really close to done here. In fact, I think I'm ready to put my name on it. Might put just a little bit of white paint in a couple spots. There's this flower that looks kind of like baby's breath. Okay, I think that's it. I'm really going to put my name on it and call this a wrap. It looks like right here is a nice spot to put my name. All right, so now it's time to clean up, but here we go, a beautiful impressionist painting of ironweed and goldenrod here in Old Washington, Kentucky. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see some of the details in brush strokes. I'll take a better photo so you can see hopefully I captured the mood. I know I really enjoyed being here, and I hope that comes across in the painting. I was a little apprehensive about getting into the weeds. I didn't bring any bug spray. But I tucked my pants into my shoes, so hopefully any little critters that want to climb up my leg aren't able to do that. All right, I'm going to turn this off. I'll look real quick if any of you have any questions. Vicky saw this gorgeous purple field of flowers, and then I saw a photographer, and it was me. I'm glad painting makes your day. It always makes mine. There's nothing like painting. Well, I wish you would have tooted the horn or grabbed your paints and come and joined me, Vicky. And my mom says it's beautiful. I'm glad my mom caught it. I haven't been able to see her in person since March, so it's always fun to hang out here on the Facebook. All right, so I'm going to wave goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to pack this stuff up and then walk back home. So hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed creating it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.